Dave here, I'm with Ann Bile. Ann, is there a story or an interview that you've done that stands out in your mind?
I've done so many over the years that they tend to blur together, but you know what? The stories that I love the most are the ones that I learned something from. One time I did a whole story on a house on Lake Drive that had a very interesting history to it. I got to go down to the public library and research the house. Well, I had never learned how to do anything with their research archives, and I thought that was great fun to be able to learn that. I learned a lot about that house. And so that was interesting to me because I learned something. I've interviewed people that I've learned things from, that I've gotten to know better, and I think that's really one of the things that I like the most about my job is that I get to learn new things all the time. I'm going to do a story on the newest medical advancements here in Grand Rapids. Well, that's going to be interesting to me. I mean, I don't know anything about medicine except that I have to go to the doctor sometimes. But this will be very interesting to me, is to learn those things. I recently did a story on the haunt here in Grand Rapids. What did I know about haunted houses? Who knew? I learned a whole bunch of cool things. But it seems to me that the story that I like the most is the one that I'm working on at the moment, whether it's a magazine article or for a website or writing up an interview or even writing a book. It's always what I'm working on now that is the funnest at the moment.
How has your position as a writer affected your perception of the world?
It's very interesting because in the world, the Christian world in which I grew up and was raised and still am in, it's easy to think of the world as black and white, as the Christian way or the non-Christian way. And it just does not work that way. I have met so many people who do good who are not believers. I have met believers who are as rigid and demanding as you will ever want to meet. And I think that's what's changed about my worldview, is that it's broadened to see that there are so many other people in the world who are doing good things. Their souls may be lost, but they're people doing good. And it's a hard thing because I think, you need to find God, and I'm certainly not going to proselytize while I'm out there talking to them. But I see that the world is bigger than we would like to think sometimes. We each of us have our own little bubble in which we move, whether that means a job, your church, your home. Sometimes it's just your church and your home. Sometimes it's just immediate family and the 5 friends you have at church. We make our worlds so incredibly small sometimes. And the world is not small. There's so many interesting things to learn, interesting people to meet, to talk to learn about. And I think we are in such huge danger of keeping our world so tightly controlled and small that we're never challenged to think outside what we've been taught or what we've been shown in our worlds. And I think being a journalist and a writer has expanded my vision so much that I find all of the world interesting, and I'm curious about it a lot. And I think that's key to being a decent human being, and to being a writer, is you have to be curious what's out there and ask those questions and challenge yourself to think what my life might be or how I might be able to help in this world.